Atlanta is said to be making a run at Kirk Cousins. If you're Kirk Cousins, and you just released a video of you working out on a tennis court to show how far along your Achilles is in terms of coming back and all of that, and you are perfect for a Sean McVay offense because we saw it with Kevin O'Connell, and they hired Zach Robinson down there, and you still get to be in a dome, and you get to be in an easy division, and you get to be in the NFC. And yeah, you don't have Justin Jefferson anymore, but you have Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts and Drake London and the 8th overall pick to potentially add either a left tackle or another receiver to help you out. I would think if I'm Kirk Cousins, Atlanta is a very, very, very attractive destination. And so Jeremy Fowler of ESPN added Minnesota. He listed 4 teams for Fields. Pittsburgh, we've talked about a lot. Atlanta, we've talked about a lot. Vegas, we've talked about a lot. And Minnesota. Is it possible that Ryan Poles, if Cousins goes to Atlanta and Baker goes back to Tampa and Russell Wilson goes to Pittsburgh, that a team that's left in the game of musical chairs that doesn't have a draft pick high enough to take one of the top quarterback prospects, it wouldn't be a perfect fit in a Kevin O'Connell offense?
No, not at all.
But
I mean, the Kevin O'Connell offense is the McVay offense, is the Zach Robinson offense in Atlanta.
I know.
Is the Getsy offense on some level here.
Right, but someone is going to be square peg, round hole here because there are not 32 good starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and Justin is one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league. I
think it's going to be Pittsburgh.
You think it's going to be Pittsburgh?
That's Arthur Smith now, right?
Yes.
And because they don't have to trade for Justin as the undivided plan A, they could have him come to camp and battle it out with Kenny Pickett and see what happens. I know that means that they wouldn't be picking up the option and would put them in danger, but then maybe they would have they would obviously have the inside track to sign him and work something out.
Yeah, the more I think Daniel about Jones route.
Yeah, if you're as a plan B,
but that is going to hurt your trade compensation
for sure.
If a team's trading for him and saying we're not committed to him enough to pick up the 5th-year option, I think Bears fans should be preparing themselves to potentially be disappointed in the return and not even getting a second-round pick for Justin. Because when you actually do the exercise of connecting the dots here, it gets trickier. But so then the next question, and we have phone lines open here, 312-644-6767. You can call or text in on these reports. If Pittsburgh made an offer, say a 3rd and a 5th, and Minnesota made an offer, a 3rd and a 4th, would you rather trade him to Pittsburgh or Minnesota?
Not having him in the division?
Not having to deal with it. Just you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to play him. Man. You don't have to deal with the risk of him beating you. You don't have to deal with the distraction for Caleb. And the difference is a 3rd and a 4th. I'm not talking about like a massive. Obviously, if a deal is significantly better from Minnesota, if that's the best offer on the table, you take it. But if you're Ryan Poles, would that be worth it to you to avoid the risk, the egg on your face, the whatever, to not take the best deal?
Well, let's see if some callers want to hop in on this. If callers are possibly afraid of the idea of Fields in Minnesota, or if you think Poles would rather not have Fields in Minnesota, it's interesting.
I personally would take the best offer that you could get. I think that's what you owe it to the team, and you are not going to live in fear that Fields is going to be better than Caleb in that spot. But the market doesn't seem to be going Ryan Poles' way for Justin Fields. It seems to be going exactly how he wanted with Caleb in terms of checking every box of he wants to be in Chicago. Teammates rave about him. Kingsbury raved about him. The dad wasn't too much of a diva. He aced the public part of the combine, wants to do a meeting, all that stuff. The Fields thing does not seem to be going very well.
Well, we'll see if there's any more leaks in the coming days about other teams that are interested as this thing will have a chance to play out. He could be in a position where he has to wait until after free agency. Not ideal, but that could be where Ryan Poles ends up.
And I personally, and we'll take the calls here in a second, I personally wouldn't rule out New England still. That they draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or they trade the 3rd pick because they're just not ready to have a rookie quarterback. and then they trade like a second-round pick for Fields. That they trade down from 3 like the Bears did last year, get a bunch of assets, and bring Fields into New England. I think that there's a chance that happens.